Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again for episode 18. Tonight we have a special guest, Hunter Shryock, one of the Ohio boys fishing the Elite Series, and we're excited to talk with him.
Yeah, I'm excited tonight, man. Got a T County boy on. Little local legend, as we call him. One of them. He made it out of the
It's
08.
crazy. It's crazy just seeing his and Fletcher's journey, like you said, out of Ohio. Like through the opens, qualifying for the elites, and then just watching their career just take off. Like, how many guys do you know of from Ohio that have fished at that level?
Oh man.
I mean, there's been quite a few, but not recently.
Well, also not with the longevity that they have.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Get you some bug spray.
I know. Well, I'm in a screened-in porch, but they're still out here.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, there's
like Vic fished the FLW for a number of years. Mike Simonson fished for a little while.
Yep. I mean, some Ohioans will claim Bill Owen, which that's about as close as it gets. But
yeah,
he's just right there, Ohio-Indiana border. But I was thinking there was someone else on the elites for a while. I know Simonton did for a year or two, but yeah, the cool thing about the Shryock boys is like, which I don't know if maybe they had an avenue to do it quicker, like with sponsorships or, whatever. Good for them if they did, but like they just seem like one day they just up and decided, starting with Fletcher, like, screw this, I'm peacing out. Like there's bigger competition, I got to go find it. And they just and I'm sure their move south was just strategic, being able to practice year-round and around lakes that they're going to be fishing and all that. So pumped to talk about it.
There he is.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Oh,
awesome.
Great.
Man.
Trying to stay cool, man.
I was gonna say he's sitting outside. That's a risky proposition.
You know what? I'm at this awesome lake house this week and down at Lake Cumberland, and I'm under this beautiful covered porch, so I'm doing all right.
Yeah. It's got to be hot as well. Get out though.
Oh, dude, it is so muggy out here. But
my truck said 98 today. I don't know what it would be down further south.
It's the same. I think it's literally the same thing across the whole country right now.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. It's miserable though, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We're super pumped to have you on here, man. We appreciate you taking some time out and joining us, and we'd like to get these fellow Ohio guys on.
Old T County boy.
That's right. I like the Bush beer that Kevin signed.
Yeah, I stole that from a local grocery store a few years back. They were going to throw it away. I was like, this thing's coming home with me. Yeah, finally found somewhere to use it when we started doing this, but
that's awesome. You don't see very many of those anymore.
No, that's an OG sign right there.
Yeah. That's cool.
So
you guys are out of Akron?
I'm up near Akron, and Jesse's down just south of Zanesville.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're kind of used to be situated kind of right between us.
Yeah, for sure. How many Tuesday nighters at Tappan have you all fished?
Oh Lord, man! I've fished several club tournaments there over the years, and all that with the old man, and fished a ton of the lakes. I mean, I remember, heck, what's it probably been 10 years or more now, but just fishing Salt Fork in my early 20s. You're probably a little younger than me, but see the big big lime green Abu Garcia boat come idling around the corner, and you're like, that's the first time like I ever really, knew who you were, and it was cool, man. It's been super cool just watching your career in general. I mean,
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know.
Appreciate it.
I'm sure you do realize it, but like a lot of guys in this, Muskingum County, Guernsey County, clear up to where Aaron is. I mean, they take a lot of pride in watching you and rooting for you. I mean, we
cool
all
to
do.
hear. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome
Absolutely.
to hear, for sure.
Yeah. I think go ahead, Aaron.
I mean, you probably had like the entire state rooting you on at the Classic. I mean, pretty much every year, but I mean, you were pretty close this year, and
yeah,
dude. I mean, we all if we had jerseys for you, we'd all be like in front of the TV, just. But
yeah, that was cool.
It's cool. It's cool. Just and you're flipping a tube and doing things that we all still do up here, and which that goes into some of the questions I had jotted down for you tonight, which we'll get into. But
okay,
yeah, I was just going to say, you mentioned weeknighters. I feel like which I'm closer to Dillon Lake over here, but it's it's a little crap hole. But I feel like your brother or you maybe showed up there a couple times back in the day, but I haven't fished a Wednesday nighter since I had kids.
I know I've been there before. Yeah.
Yeah. you don't want to remember it if you were.
That place, wasn't there like a drought or something and it was like completely dried up? Or which lake was that? Somewhere close to there.
That was Buckeye. That was
what it was.
So they redid the spillway. It's probably been 4 or 5 years ago now, and you could get a 10 rig in there like when it was drawn down, but that lake only averages, it's one of them lakes. It's kind of like Indian. It's like 3-4 foot deep, and then it's like 10 feet in the middle. But just all the flat ag fields around it. There's no no deeper contours or anything.
Right.
So, but
get the DNR on some stocking programs like we talked about.
Yeah, we've been chatting about it. We've been
that comes up every episode.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we love to cry about not catching bass and need something to blame, So
it's tough a lot of places. I mean, now that I live down here, it's still you go to the boat ramp tomorrow morning, you get there at 7, there'll be 15 boats already in the water, and it's like, what do you guys do? Because this is my job, and you'll beat me here on a Monday morning. You're just out here fun fishing. So it just gets pounded everywhere.
They don't get a break, do they, man?
No,
they don't get a break.
They don't.
It's kind of worrisome when you think about the future, because it's like, damn, they can't make any more lakes.
No,
but
what we see is what we got.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that brings up everything else between the sonar, the everything. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess for us, like we talked about how watching you and your brother kind of come up and qualify through the opens, and now you're fishing the Elite Series, and I mean, you've seemingly kind of made it, right? Like it's a dream come true, and for most guys doing what we do, and so I guess like tell us about what that journey leading up to qualifying looked like, and kind of why you made that move, and I guess we'll start there.
Yeah, obviously I kind of started fishing later than a lot later than what most kids do now that I'm competing against. I'm competing against kids that are the age that started really trying to fish, which was like 22, 23 years old. But, growing up in Ohio, my brother started, doing well fishing tournaments. He won that open on Norman. And then that kind of really piqued my interest because we had to go to the Classic the following year down at Shreveport, Louisiana. And anyhow, yeah, just got started doing that. I was kind of like on that fast track just because I had him to tell me, yes, no, this is dumb, this is good. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have that. Like, that's so hard to find that information. And obviously now it's not as hard, right, with the amount of information that's out there. But at the time, we had information, but it's still like going through the process and learning stuff and just being like, don't question it, go do this. And, you know, and that really sped things up for me. But I really fished a lot around the house, but I immediately jumped right into the Bassmaster Opens. I got my first boat in 2012, and then I jumped into the Opens in 2013. Had no business doing it, but the whole reasoning was like to get to experience different places and stuff. And so like on a more national level, like getting out of the state and seeing bodies of water. And so that's what I did. And, you know, that was a quick, you know, kick in the butt learn lesson for me. And then after a couple of years of doing that, it's like seeing, you know, what I had learned in Ohio and taking that across the country, you know, to different bodies of water, and just really learning how to dumb things down. Because I think we get so caught up in, well, we're going to Kentucky Lake this week. Well, I'm from Ohio, but Kentucky Lake's ledge fishing, you know what I mean? And like, so I had to learn, just go do what you do. And that took a while. Still takes me a while. You know, we get caught up with stupid ideas, but finally qualified in 2017. And, you know, now in the Elite Series, it's, you know, you're always chasing the carrot. You never feel like you actually made it. I know I'm in a great position that a lot of people would want to be in, but at the same time, I got my buddy Jacob Wheeler that lives 20 minutes down the road. I talked to my buddy Jordan Lee that lives 2 hours away, and it's like you have that heightened level of competitiveness. And like Jacob, he wins like 12 tournaments a year. You know, and you have that around, like, and so my competitiveness is like, oh my gosh, I need to win. Like, I need, you know what I mean? Like it heightens everything just because the people around me are so dang good. And I consider them like in my close circle. So it's just like, you know, you try to start to compare yourself with them. Not that I do, but like you just see that, you know, how well they're doing, and you want to match that. So it's just always, but if you would ask me 5 years ago, oh, this is where I'd want to be at, right? And the 5 years before that, that's just human nature. We're just never content with where we're at.
Yeah. It's you definitely have to keep that in perspective when you're having a bad day, and you got to give yourself that reminder of like, this is what I freaking dreamed of when I was, you know, 10 years old or 14 year old, whatever. But I wanted to mention, like, you were just kind of talking about how you're working up through the ranks, like your whole story, like you've documented it super, super well, you know, on YouTube. You were probably one of the first, just doing an amazing job with like a unique style, and like me kind of owning a business I own and understanding more like branding and stuff. Like, I've realized like you understand branding and like how to brand yourself, and you did an awesome job at it. And like, just a question, like for my curiosity, like as you were you know, started getting that YouTube stuff going and building the Hunter Shryock fishing brand, like did you, like from the beginning, like were you naturally like, I got to build a brand, or did it just evolve and you learned that building the brand was picking up steam, and it just kept getting better and better, just, you know, putting out high quality content? And
yeah, it was purely, I mean, obviously I think I kind of saw that where we were going to be at with fishing eventually. I never imagined it would be where it is so quick with the media and stuff, because it literally jumped a decade forward. But at the time, it was more or less, that was my little, I want to say, edge that I had with any of this fishing stuff was that I liked learning how to do the camera stuff. And that was like just taking off, you know, like it wasn't a big saturated market. And so once I started to learn how to do it, I'm like, this is fun. Like it was more or less fun to me. And then that's when I started having people reach out to me like, hey, could you do this for us? And obviously having my brother in with Pure Fishing, they took note of it real quick. And next thing I know, I'm like going to Mexico with them to help do a media shoot, you know, and I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing, you know, and it just, everything, you couldn't have scripted it. Like if you would have told me, you know, that's where I was going to be at in the next couple of years, I'd have been like, no way. But it just happened. Right. And then eventually that really became like my secondary income for fishing. And not only that, but it helped, you know, develop those relationships inside of the industry. So it was just, you couldn't do it over again. You know, like if now, you know, the same, if you were to do the same thing, it's like everything's so saturated. So it was just like a perfect time, perfect moment. And I just looked at it more or less from when I raced motocross, and I saw the media that we had in it, and fishing was so far behind compared to even motocross, yet alone.
You were 10 years ahead on the editing side. You brought something to fishing that just wasn't a guy slinking a jig down a bank with, you know,
just
some
a little
retro
more
track in the background.
Just a little different. And so
stimulating stuff for sure.
But now it's so, I mean, everything's documented, everybody's got a video, and it's great. Like we get to see it all, but now it starts to lose that edge to it.
That edge,
At any point, did you have to be like, whoa, I want to be the fishing guy here. I don't want to be a professional cameraman. Like,
man, I mean, that's a great problem to have, right?
Right.
But even
you could do that for a living for sure.
Even a couple years ago, there was that trying to find that balance, because obviously my partners want me fishing, they want good results, but they also need media and they need those videos or clip or anything, right? And I can do that. So it is hard to say, not that I want to say no, it's just structuring, you know, how much, you know, because at the end of the day, we only have so much time. And anything to do with that stuff, you guys know, you're doing a podcast. Like, I don't even want to know the amount of hours and time to just get sunk into it, right? And that's the same with that stuff.
And there's kids now, and you know, it's all like it's work, but it's fun for us. I mean, we do this together to promote other businesses that we have together. So, but it doesn't feel like work, and you know, a lot of things you do don't feel like work. So for sure.
So
it's finding a balance.
Right.
So when you got into the fishing and the videos and all that, like your brother kind of kicked it off, you came right behind him, and I feel like you guys had an edge because you're two young guys, two kind of edgy guys, came from motocross. You had an awesome backstory, and you kind of had that edge to kind of set yourself apart a little bit, to attract the partners that you got. And like you said, like that probably isn't going to work, that route. Like you can't duplicate that now. What would you say that like companies are looking for in anglers that are trying to make it? Like, what is something they can do to set themselves apart?
I wouldn't say that I couldn't have that edge now that I did then, just with the videos that I was making. Now, is that opportunity still there? 100%, because there's always the next level. You know what I mean? There's always a little twist or a tweak to doing stuff. And the thing with social media is it's changing all the time. And, you know, not only are we bass anglers, but we're quote unquote influencers, right? Or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's what we've kind of always been anyhow. Tournament anglers to an extent have been, you know, bass fishing influencers. so I think that avenue is definitely still there because that's where the future is going. And I think, companies they're getting younger people in the positions of, marketing and everything else. And so they're seeing savvy ways of doing, promoting their products. So there's always little niches and stuff that people can get into. So it's like Mercer doing the underwater footage. Like how crazy, I don't know if you guys seen David Mercer's.
Yeah.
How crazy cool is that? You know what I mean? Like who would ever thought you could do something like that? But that is such like a niche, cool deal to be able to go swimming with bass, but also see them eat a lure, right?
Right.
But I think, just companies, they're looking at how to, get out there in front of more people and who's capable of doing that. So it's like, you got to know how to fish, you got to know how to catch them, but you also got to know how to, be a good partner, be able to promote stuff like that.
Yeah. I have a lot of kids, they'll reach out and it's awesome because you're proud of them, want a youth tournament, want this or that. And, constant wanting sponsorships and stuff. And a lot of them will ask like, what can they do to help grow their own brand? And like, it's simple, but it's complicated. And it's basically like, just do something that nobody's doing. Just like you did with, your content, like it skyrocketed your, your brand.
100%.
But it's like, what is that no one's doing?
Right.
I don't know.
Or you're taking something that's, like I said, it's already there and you're doing it a little bit different.
Take a little risk.
Yeah. And I think, one thing I think a lot of people gravitate towards is honesty, right? Mm-hmm. Like they really gravitate towards someone that's just downright honest,
Yes.
So that I think just doing that and being yourself, whatever that is, but it's just a personality, right? So I think
100%.
I've had to learn that, like you kind of go full circle, come back to it. But at the end of the day, you just gotta be you and do what for me, it was fun. Like you said, you're doing this stuff because it's fun, and it was fun for me. Still is fun until you start getting too much of it. you're doing a lot of it, right? But like the Larry Legend stuff, he was about 4, 5, 6 years too early. He was too early. So man, probably bring him back, but you get what I'm saying though. Like now,
dude,
with TikTok,
I'm missing.
Right? Yeah. Like Larry was way before his time. And
I still think Rut Daniels, caught Larry video and just made that brand in the hunting spectrum, man. Like those two, I would love to see a cage fight between Larry and Rut Daniels. That'd be a good match.
I mean, Larry could definitely be bigger than
man,
other Shryock fishing ever could be.
You had something with Larry, and you're right. TikTok would have been, oh man, dude, it was just hilarious because your northern accent is on point too.
Can you give us a little bit? I'll put you on the spot.
Okay, guys, we're out here on Lake Winnebago fishing for deep perch, dropping the big sinkers down there on downriggers, leaving them off the sides about 40 feet. When the bobber goes down, you don't set the hook; you let them swim off. All right, that's enough. See, that is the tricky part with Larry is I'm better at doing like making the video of them than what I am of like doing a live, because it's a lot easier to make them funny than what it is to be funny in person.
Yeah. You get the wig and the stash on. You're all in at that point. You're vibing off of it. Yeah.
Oh shoot! But yeah, it's cool. That's fun stuff. It was fun doing those things. I mean, we'll probably still do some more. I just did one recently with like the DuraSafe locks, but it wasn't like a big shindig.
Hopefully we motivate you to spark a little revival of Larry.
Well, but see, most kids now, like they don't even know who Larry the Legend is. So
they'd take right
Yeah.
to him though. They'd take right to him. I guarantee it, man. Guarantee
oh
it.
shoot. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you always got at least a backup plan in that when you decide to retire from fishing and videos.
Go into acting.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Go ahead,
Go
Jesse.
ahead. I just was gonna say I'd never want to retire if I had your job, but you know, there's probably some days it's fishing. There's some frustrating days, I'm sure. Some head scratchers.
Oh, always. More of those than what there are good days. I can promise you that.
Do you think being like from up here is, you know, a grind of a day down there, quote unquote? Like,
Yeah.
do you feel like the Southern natives cry more than you on a tough day?
Well, I can assure you this: when we do go to tough fishery, like when it is a legitimate tough bite, you know, those have always been my best tournaments.
Yes.
You know, I just finished 11th at Sabine River. The last time we were there, I think I finished 6th, and it's just perspective, right? Like I just think I have a perspective. You guys have the same perspective. You're going out, you're going to get X amount of bites, but 8 to 10 pounds that's what it is. Like you're not going to worry about it. And I think to some guys, it's like it's a mental thing. Like you just going into it, you know, mentally out of it. Right. So I think I'm very comfortable with getting 5 to 8 bites a day. And then you might not have a fish at 11 o'clock, but you guys know, like that's just kind of normal, you know?
Right.
And
You
hit 2 or 3 stretches and you're like, man, I caught one big one. I caught a limit. Let's go back in. And then everybody else, like by 11 o'clock and they had one fish and they're spun out. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing for me is, no, do I get spun out? 100%, but I'm like comfortable with, you know, a tough fishery. I actually like them now just for the fact that I know so many guys, you know, despise of them. So,
right. Well,
but it definitely helps. I say the one thing though, that I think the biggest misconception is like, people are like, oh, you're from Ohio. You're used to this, you know, tough fishing. You know, it makes you such a great angler. Not that Ohio doesn't make you a great angler, but I'm one of those guys. I want to get bites. Like I love getting bites, catching fish more than I do. Like I would rather go catch 30 2 to 3 pounders than like 1 7-pounder. But that's just me. I just like catching fish, you know, like we go up to Lake Erie and you get, you know, you're fishing for largemouth and you catch 20 to 40 or maybe even more. Like that's so much fun to me. And that's the one thing in Ohio we don't have as much is you're not setting the hook as much all the time. So it's hard to learn, you know, different stuff when, you know, the guys down south, they can go to a Clearwater lake, to a grass lake, to a ledge lake, all within an hour and a half of each other. And they're going to go catch fish every single time. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. That's the only thing that, you know, we don't get as much is just setting the hook. When you're not setting the hook, you're not learning, you know, you could have been throwing the right jig the whole day. You just, you know, you just went down 5 stretches that somebody else went down ahead of you.
Never brought it across one of the 4 bass that live in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's you're right, man. I mean, it gets to be this time of year up here and you have a tournament on one of these little lakes, and it's like you're telling yourself that in the morning. I just took my nephew to a tournament yesterday. I was like, we're gonna get 5 to 7 bites. If we put 5 of them in the boat, you know, you will get you a plaque today, buddy, and that's it. Like you just gotta make them count. So
you cannot lose them.
Yeah, it's a tricky deal, man. I don't know, but it like, was your move south just, you know, strictly a business move just so you could stay sharp year round?
Yeah, 100%.
Sick of driving, probably.
That and the driving, because realistically, I camped when I would go, especially in the beginning in 2018 was my first season. So being from Ohio, and I wanted to pre-fish a lot of the places. So I had a truck camper and I would go pre-fish, and then I was fishing in an event, and then I would go from that event and go pre-fish another place because I hadn't been to a lot of them. And, I was spending 2 months at a time on the road, like I was never home anyhow, where now being, I'm right basically north of Chattanooga, everything's within an 8-hour drive, more times than not. And if it's not that, it's 10 hours, and I can come back home, where Ohio, it's like I was going from, if I a week in event, couldn't get back home. I'd stay in that region to go to the next event because it didn't make sense to spend a day driving home, a day driving back, so it cut down my driving. So I just traded in my truck last year, or this past winter, and it had 86,000 miles on it. And I got it when I moved here in Tennessee in 2020. So I had 4 seasons on it and only 86,000 miles. So the math on that's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Where Ohio was at least 30,000 a year driving.
Oh yeah.
So I would, I'd have to get a truck I try to get rid of them every 3 years, or not 3 years, before they hit 100,000. And I almost could have got 5 seasons out of one truck just because I live down here. So that alone is a lot of time. A lot of time saved.
So, smart move.
Moving down here, like with the diversity of fisheries and stuff, how is that kind of learning curve or process been for you? Because obviously you have techniques that you favor and you prefer to fish. So how do you balance doing what you're used to and you're comfortable with versus going and throwing a big 8 or 10-inch spoon off a ledge?
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Everybody does it differently. And I try to specialize for each event. Like I try to really focus on it. And there's other anglers they'll fish like the NPFL and the elites, and you're just on the road, boom, boom, boom. But when I come home, just like now, I'm trying to get ready for Lake St. Clair and the Mississippi River. So I'm going through all my frogs. I'm going through all my setups now to try to get all that stuff. And I can go to Gunnersville, Nickajack, and I can go throw a frog and punch and flip, because I feel like, that's probably what I'm, tend to be doing on the Mississippi River. But I also got St. Clair, so I can go over to the mountain lakes and chase spots. And so I got my spinning rod stuff out, and there may be a great bite on Chickamauga right now offshore, and I won't even go do it because I'm more focused on, trying to shake a minnow for St. Clair and also get ready for the Mississippi River. So I'm hyper focused on just doing the, certain techniques and making sure everything, my setups are, dialed in. And I'll spend a lot of time just doing that, just chasing a bite. Do I got to go to this mountain lake, or do I got to go over here so I can, basically target practice? Is what I like to call it.
Yeah. No, so you're practicing more techniques than just locating schools and trying to catch fish.
Yeah.
Not that that's not the goal, but like.
Right. So, and that's what, like, I've even sat here, like, I live on Chickamauga. I'm 5 minutes from a boat ramp, but like, yeah, I know the schools, but like you would think I would have some really sneaky offshore schools for, June, July. And I don't, because I never had a tournament to have to go out there and grind to find that specific stuff out there, because I'm more worried about trying to do map study,
your job. basically.
Yeah, I'm really trying to, and I just feel like I'm one of those people that I have to do that. There's other people that could just, roll out of bed and just go and take 3 John Cox, and they're going to go do their thing. But I feel so much better. I feel better if I know that I've tried, you know what I mean, to do my homework as far as knowing everything that I have is supposed to be right. Because usually that's, at the end of the day, at those events, it comes down to so minute, simple, stupid stuff that costs you, whether that's a cut, a top 10, potentially a win. Like it's cutting hairs. And then you're looking back going, dang, I could have done something, But yeah, I try to just, so like even before 10 killer was supposed to be like clear water, and it obviously it flooded, but I spent a lot of time fishing offshore, fishing brush, stuff like that, just anticipating that's probably how it was going to be. And then we had all that rain, which was fine because I'm used to doing that too, but I stunk it up there. So
I was just going to ask, like, I think I know the answer, but like your prototypical like wheelhouse tournament, do you want to have a flipping stick in your hand?
150%. Yeah. And I went, and 10 killer was one that was like, you couldn't have scripted it any better. And I just had stuff happen that just, we've all had those days where it's like nothing goes your way and you just
saw some of the clips.
Yeah. You lose every meaningful fish that you need to have, you lose. And it's like, that doesn't happen, honestly. Like I'll go flipping. And I did. I went here at the house, and I think I went out of 20 flipping fish, I caught 19 of them. So it's just like, no, the setup was right. It was a bad deal. But you're going to have those. I mean, it is what it is. That one will haunt me. It's basically like Ray Roberts was the first time I was there for the Classic. We had a big thunderstorm before the second day of the tournament. We're all flipping bushes. It's the one that Hank Cherry won. I went out there, had the same amount of bites that I had the first day, that I caught like 18 pounds. And I think I caught 3 fish that day and missed the top 25 cut by like 2 ounces or something ridiculous. And it's all because that dang lightning and everything else. So that's one thing for your listeners. If you get a bad thunderstorm and lightning and you're fishing shallow, just be ready for it. I don't have the answer on how to catch them.
They're just not going to bite.
They'll bite. They'll bite. Trust me. Some will still bite. They'll just bite really funny.
Yeah, they're nibbling on it.
Yes. How do you mentally bounce back from days like that, though?
I don't know. That was a rough one.
For you,
he hasn't.
Right. I'm still holding on to it. Yeah.
Honestly, it was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. But at the same time, it's like I sit there and look at it, and I'm like, freaking Jason Christie, you couldn't have scripted a better tournament for him, and he finished whatever, I think he had like 10 pounds a day. And he knows what's going on. And it's just one of those events that it is what it is. But anyhow, you got to put it behind you. I'm getting there. But it's also a good thing, because now it's like that's motivation, because usually those are the ones that you learn the most in. You never learn a lot when you go through an event and you finish like 30th. You learn, but you don't, right? Because what you did worked, and you're like, oh, cool, whatever, on to the next one. But when you get your tail kicked, that's the ones that you're like, never again. And I got redemption at Ray Roberts, so that was cool, because I kicked myself after that one. I'm like, we'll never see a bush flipping event for a Bassmaster Classic, high water. Like, you'll never, ever see that. I won't in my lifetime. And then we get to go back, and I actually caught him flipping. So even though it wasn't a bush flipping deal.
Now, when you're on the water, like even kind of preparing, like, how serious are you? Are you ever just like, hey, you know what, like, I'm just here to have fun and do my job, and if I can do both of those things, then I'll be all right? Or are you
Like
just like 100% locked in all
like
day?
at the tournament or just like fishing?
Yeah, not just going out fun fishing and practicing, but like at a tournament. Do you ever just have to like take yourself back and say, hey, you know what, let's have some fun today? Or
Mm-mm.
are you just strictly business all day?
I've never done that.
I
I
think
don't
you
think.
got to have a killer's mentality to even compete at
Yeah,
that
and it's
level. Like,
not. I used to say it's almost like someone's holding a gun to your head, and that's a bad way to put it. But it's like the pressure to perform is, you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, and every time I'm in practice, I'm sitting there thinking somebody right now, there's 100 guys, somebody right now is figuring out the way to win this tournament and they don't know it. I'm like, it
yeah,
might as well be me. Like at every practice, because you'll go through those times when it's just like I'm lost, right? But I've got 24 hours to get something together before the first day of the tournament. It's such a you have to cover so much water and you only get so much time, and just getting yourself around the fish. We all can catch them. Like every one of us can catch them. You guys can catch them. It's a hell of a lot easier if you're around them, right? And it's just
Right.
yes,
like, if you get around them, you can put something together. And so I think that's what keeps me just pretty straight and narrow the whole time. Unless I'm just
finding
like,
them.
completely, I feel great about it. You got an ace up your sleeve, you're smallmouth fishing and you got a rock pile that's 100 miles away. It might be a little more casual, but then you're just worried about, making sure you can even get there and get back.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like there's never a. Now
Well,
in the tournament, I've had times where it's like, you're rolling, you've caught like a great bag, and you're just like, just enjoy it. But I'm also still like trying to stay on the gas, if that makes sense. But you can enjoy it because you either you made the cut, or you have a good feeling that you've accomplished something, but you also are still hammered down. You're just doing it with a smile.
Right.
well, it's like when you get to your level too, like it's almost like you can never let your guard down, like as far as competition goes. I mean, I've watched a lot of your videos over the years, but like as you were talking about that, I'm thinking of like the one in specific when you're in one of the opens, probably the year you qualified, and just wrecking them on like a 50-yard stretch in Florida. And like day two, someone tried to move in on you. And you kind of documented all that in a video. Still want to know who it was to this day. But anyways, in the
Yeah.
video, you said something like these guys will shake your hand and steal your money out of your pocket. Some of them will at the same time. Like they're competitive dudes. You got to
Oh
be
yeah.
at that level. So,
Right.
it's probably hard to just chill sometimes because,
Oh, it is,
um,
and it's like I've done it long enough now to know that it's like I said, everything is so so close. If you get 10 opportunities a day and you miss 2 of them, I mean it's costing you X amount, no matter what, because more times than not, the top 70 or 80 anglers are all getting those same 10 opportunities. And most of them are going to do 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. So if you miss one, you drop. You miss 2, it's even further. And that may be just not even getting a bite, not mentally being where you need to be at on a, clicking through your rotations. It's just a very, very fine line. So, and I've done it where, you feel like, well, I did my job. I'm here I made the Saturday, like you made the cut. And there's times that I've just been like, cool, I made the cut. I'm just, I'm going to go fishing. Like, no, those are the days that you have to like step on their throats type of deal,
right.
because you make up all your points right there. You make up, dang, you could be in 40th and jump up to 20th, or you could be in, there's nothing solidified until after the event's done.
And
so
that probably goes back to like the goal every year is to make the Classic, and you probably always have that in the back of your head. Like it could come down to one fish, essentially.
Oh, it always does.
Yeah.
So 23, whatever year it'd have been 2 years ago, and now I'm in the same position. Now we bring it up, but it was a couple years ago. No, it's all
You'll
right.
be fine. You'll be fine.
We'll be fine. But we was going into the Mississippi River and needed a top, I don't know. I think I needed a top 40. Yeah, I needed something like that, top 40. And I'm going in like day 3, I'm in 15th place or something like that. Like, easy contention. But Mississippi River's tight. Like the weights are super tight. And ended up missing that Classic. I fell on the 3rd day. I fell back like in the 40s, but I missed the Classic by 1 point. That's one position out of 9 events, one single position. Because if I would have tied them, say what?
That's one bite.
One bite, yeah.
Literally, or less than a bite.
And you look back on how many fish you lost, or how, like it's just like mind blowing that you're like, I missed a Classic by 1 point. That's one position at any event. And so now I don't take that for granted. And I did, ever since then, that's the, the 3rd day mentality, or any day mentality is like, hey, you might be in 70th place, but you better fight your butt off to get to 69th, because if you don't, like, that could be that one. That's how I think now. Like, no matter what, you try, you do whatever you can. So
yeah. No, I couldn't imagine. You've had to. Whew.
Oh, it's stressful.
It's stressful. I wanted to ask you, man. Talking back to your opens, I followed you real close that year. Like, you went and qualified. Like, was the most sleepless night you ever had the night you found that giant on bed at Chick, just hoping it stayed there for the next morning? That had to be freaking rough.
That was nerve-wracking. Yeah, that was nerve-wracking. Man. For sure. And I found those. I mean, those fish stayed there, I think, for like several days.
Really?
And where they stayed at,
that was like a 10-pounder, wasn't it? I mean, it was huge. The one you
like
caught.
I think it was a 9.
Okay, a 9. It's gigantic.
8 or a 9. I don't know. It wasn't a 10. It was a giant though. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And there was a stretch up, and I never went back to where that was.
Really?
Never gone back there. I never want anybody to see me where I went.
Special place.
I've lived here for 5 years now, and I've never gone in there and checked.
Well,
but it was very situation. There's 150 or 200 opens anglers. Like, the odds that somebody's going to find them, and lo and behold, they were still there. So that was pretty.
You got you a little sneaky boat like Jacob.
I don't. I probably could get one, but more boats, more problems.
Right.
I say, just get you a little tin rig with a 9.9 and put on the Larry the Legend and sneak back in there.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
We'll never know
you. Do I remember 800?
I've kicked around the idea about getting another boat just to have one that's not wrapped and not put the hours on my boat. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But you guys know, like, you like, if you're practicing, you want to practice with,
what you're going to use
type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tricky with the forward stuff now.
And little man.
Yeah, you hear him?
I was dude. I was literally just going to ask you. I thought you had a little one now. Like, has that changed your perspective on anything?
It's definitely made it a lot harder to be away from home. So
Yeah.
they'll travel with me, to the events that are close. But like we went to 10 Killer, they didn't go. That was a 12-hour drive, and I don't want to put him through that. Some people do. It's fine. I just didn't want to, him sitting in a car seat for that long. But it makes it a lot tougher, being away from home for that long.
Yeah.
So especially now, because I mean, last year he was so young, he didn't even know, But now he's like, Dada, where's Dada?
Now the tears
Yeah.
come when you leave. Yeah, make you feel.
It makes you feel this tall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll understand eventually, but it is hard for
Yeah.
sure. When, but at the
It's
same time,
it's a
man,
good
it's the best
problem
thing.
to have.
Yeah, good,
But,
best thing ever for sure.
Right. Oh, 100%. You don't realize it, and nobody can ever tell you. Like, I'll try to even tell people now, like, you don't know it yet, but it's the best thing ever. But when it finally happens to you, you're like, yeah, this is a feeling I've never even felt before, to have someone, like him running around. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you're in a unique position where, you're in a unique position where, I mean, this is your job, it's your career, and sometimes your career takes you away from home. For guys like me and Jesse, when we go fish a tournament and the kids are like, "Hey, Dad, don't go today," and we end up going anyways, like, I mean, that's selfish, right? Like, but for you, but for you, you're providing for your family that
way. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, how much does that make you feel? Like, man, what am I doing out here? Like, I could be home with my kid.
No, it's actually, I mean, going back to like the wanting to catch them and your mindset, like I think that pops up even more now. And it's not so much of a pressure thing, but more so like, hey, he's relying on me to do my job. Like you don't have time to mope around or what, you know what I'm saying? Like during practice or whatever, like, no, get your head out of your butt and go figure it out, type of thing.
It's a good way to spin it too.
Yeah, it's almost like it's more motivation, 100%. Instead of just being a personal, like, hey, because I feel like this may sound cocky, and it's not. I don't want it to come off that way, but I think as competitors, we all feel like we're going to win at some point. We all want to win, but I don't think, like when you do win, you don't get the satisfaction that I think that you would truly get, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay, well, I won, type of thing. But now with like him, I feel like now it's that much greater to do it. So, yeah, it's definitely a motivator.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, you're young. You haven't been doing this terribly long. How much longer do you think you got in the game? Like, what's your goal?
Honestly,
I mean, you're gonna be like the next Rick Clunn, be like 100 years old.
It's so I'm a short-term minded person. As bad as that sounds, but it's like that's how all of this has come to begin with. Like, I didn't have a plan B necessarily, like it was like, I'm going to just do this. And there were years where, like, even fishing the opens, like if I didn't have the camera stuff going, I wouldn't even have been able to afford to fish the opens. And it was just like 1 year to the next year. And now it's just like, with where the industry is, who knows? Like, you couldn't tell me. If you told me right now where I'm going to be at in 5 years, I'd probably laugh, because I couldn't have scripted where I'd be at right now, type of thing. But obviously, I mean, I love doing it. Love to keep doing it. It's going to be interesting with the amount of technology where that ends up going, right?
Yeah.
So but besides that, like, I mean, I have all intentions of just continuing what I'm doing. But yeah, it's hard to believe, you know, those guys that are doing it. And I mean, competing against Rick Clunn. I mean, I've competed against him the entire time I've been on the Elite Series until what, just this year? Pretty sure he just retired, right? He was fishing last year. Dude, unbelievable. Like, I don't know how he did it. And he was out there at the same time as everybody else. Like, he put in the time. Like, he was a machine. And he won. Yeah. He won at what was the last one he won? St. John's.
Yeah. Man, I think about that, dude. And it's like, you know, you're in your 30s and you probably get up on day 3 sometimes and try to straighten out your back and, you know, get up and move. I'm like, how is a guy like Rick Clunn out there on day 4 freaking still chucking a 1-ounce spinnerbait around or whatever he's, you know, whatever.
Or a crankbait, just
nothing but respect, man. Like, yeah, like those aren't easy baits to just chuck and wind all day, even for a younger dude. But I mean, what better guy to, you know, kind of be the legend of the sport though? Like,
Probably like didn't really know.
With him retiring, like, just kind of a question on the business side, like, and I know we're getting close to an hour here, but like what's a typical, like, and you may not even know, or you don't have to answer this like in a personal way, but like, what's a retirement plan look like for a professional angler? Like, do guys just kind of invest on their own, or just some guys just fly by the seat of their pants?
I think a lot of guys, I mean, there's so much stuff that, like, oh, anglers don't make money and da-da-da-da-da. Now, granted, yeah, year to year, some guys might not make money, and then other years they do. And I think it's a little bit different situation for most. But I think all in all, there's quite a few guys that are making, and that's just an opinion. I don't know for sure, but I feel like there's quite a few guys that are making a pretty decent living. Now, granted, the doing your own, you know, that's just part of being a self-employed person. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of got to take care of your stuff. You know, you can't just kind of go through it whimsical. Like, you invest in things and stuff like that. And like, I've slowly done little things, but I'm still so much focused on this business alone. It's not like I'm trying to worry, you know,
right.
When I'm 60 or something. And I'm honestly probably the type of person I'm not going to ever stop, like, doing something. Like, I don't know. That's just me. That's maybe not the best way to look at it, but like, that's my family, my dad, like, he worked up till, you know, the end. Like, it didn't matter. So
right. That was a question I had for you. If you throw out the bass fishing, obviously, and racing dirt bikes, what's the next hobby Hunter does for fun?
I don't know. You just took them.
Don't do much. No golf or anything.
Besides filming, you know, like, I could always go back and do that, but I think that job is going away. I think a lot of jobs are going away because of AI. So
right.
Yeah, we're in a couple of years, we'll just be clicking a button and telling it what video to make for us and giving it the video. And you can already do it right now.
I was going to say, you can already do it. Yeah.
It's nuts. It seems like every week it gets better. Like, it's like happens really fast.
I know.
Yeah, it's scary. I don't love that.
Yeah. Since you brought up technology changing, like, what's going on with forward-facing sonar in your opinion? Like, do you think it's something that needs to stay? It should stay in tournaments at your level. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Where are you at with it?
So I can fish with it. I can fish without it. I like using it. I also dislike use, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like on the fence, but as far as like, I just don't like the negativity around everything that has came from it, if that makes sense. Like I don't
Sure.
know how much positivity has there been, if you could weigh that out, the positivity to the negativity, because in the big scheme of things, it's like if you're like a big non-endemic sponsor wanting to come in and, you know, do some advertising or whatever in our sport, and you start looking stuff up, it just looks like a shitstorm, really. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just like it's not, doesn't look very good from the outside, and I think we all have seen that. I just think at some point, somewhere down the line, there's got to be something that's drawn, because there's way better technology than what there is forward-facing sonar. Like that's going to happen. They probably already have it. I don't know what it is, but that's just common sense. You know, you look at a cell phone, they're not going to release the next cell phone until that one's obsolete or the competition catches up. And then they release something else. But when we're out there chasing around one single fish and throwing at it for 20 minutes to get it to bite, and it bites and we catch it and bring it in, like we went from fishing to hunting, you know?
Yeah, it's a crazy thought, man.
It's a great tool because I've learned so much from it. You know, I use Active Target too. And I mean, at Lake Hartwell this year, I caught fry garters. The water was 78 to 80 some degrees or whatever it was. And I'm literally catching fry garters everywhere I look. There's just big bass on fry. And I'm like, oh, I would have thought this stretch of laydowns had, you know, I was flipping and catching fish that were, no, they were fry garters. Like stuff that you just like, you would have never known, you know, so that's cool. But as far as competitiveness and keeping a fan engaged, where is it going to go? And I don't have that answer, you know, but you know, are we getting the feedback from the fans? Are we getting the right amount of feedback? Is it positive? Is it negative?
Yeah.
I'll fish with whatever, but at the end of the day, if nobody wants to watch us do it, then what are we doing?
Right. Yeah, it's a tough deal, man.
It is tricky.
And I guarantee you, like, just because as a spectator, I get sick of talking about it. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing about it and just, you know, wanted us, you know, just, I don't know. It's
let someone draw a line in the sand and be like, all right.
It's a tricky slope. And then the scheduling has a lot to do with it. You know, you could pick a lot of lakes that would really benefit with it. You could pick a lot of places that it wouldn't be, you know, as beneficial with it. So like I said, it's a great, like we've learned things from it that we've never known before. Basically threw the whole bass book out the window.
Everything you thought you knew.
A lot of times it's like, and then you see like in how rare it is. Oh, that fish pulled up to that place, sat there for 5 minutes, and then left. Like, or you know what I mean? Like they don't sit there all the time, type of thing. But as it continues, right, and the fisheries continue, like where are we going to go? I mean, there's a reason why, you know, baseball, they use wooden bats. They have, you know, a certain size. But to us,
great analogy.
Where does it go? Like, where do we go? You know, does it ever end?
I personally think, I don't know, like you mentioned the key thing, the spectator deal and the, you know, the non-endemic side of it and everything. But like if one league kept it, you know, no limits for anything, like you can, you know, like the steroid league of bass fishing, and then the other league doesn't, which it seems like the one league that doesn't is kind of gaining some steam this year, like in my opinion. But it's just like, maybe it goes that way where it's like choose to watch what you want to watch, but that's tricky if you just pick a road and kind of own it. But I mean, it sounds like, you know, you guys are making some adjustments with stuff next year.
So. Yeah, I think they're looking at it all, and as much I don't get caught up in it as much as probably what I should. I'm kind of one that's just like, let's go fishing type of
Just
thing.
want to fish.
At the same time, I still do care about it, and I think they are going to make some changes. It's just, this is the other side of it too. Is like, this is just the beginning. Like, we're at the beginning of it. We're just now seeing things and doing stuff that's so, like, it's going to be so preschool in 3 or 4 years from now.
That's
like
such a crazy thought.
Exactly. Like, you used to think shaking a minnow, like you went and shook a minnow for the first time, and you're just like, this is so dumb, like, and how to do it. And you're like, it doesn't feel right. But now it's so easy to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, relatively, like, we've done it. And you go out here on Chickamauga and you throw a minnow over now, they'll still eat it. But there will be a lot of them that race up that sucker and peel off.
Go the other direction.
Yeah, so it's just like they're learning, but I'm just saying the techniques and technology in 3 years is going to be even further.
Yeah.
So
you'll probably have little icons on your graph that's like following the fish around. One says bass, 3 say crappie.
Just drop the underwater camera down and just start looking around.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah.
Well, we typically like to ask the guests to leave our listeners with something, and usually it's something kind of life focused or career focused. But for you, I guess we'd like to ask for the guys that are kind of getting out. We're coming up towards the end of June, up here in Ohio specifically. What's a technique that if you came back up here to fish Tappan or Portage or any of the lakes up here, like, what would you tell guys to target and look for and throw?
Man, that's a tricky one. I mean, always, I'm trying to think back. I feel like the topwater stuff really starts to come on really good. I remember catching them in places, whether that just be a frog or buzzbait. You got to kind of throw it a little bit more than probably what you feel like you should throw it, but it tends to get those bigger, better than average size bites, putting a buzzbait in your hand or something. But you can also never go wrong with something like a shaky head or a little flick shake, when you're just trying to catch with one more keeper. You go down a stretch of riprap, pitching a little shaky head or a little flick shake around. And that was something like at Tappan you could always just go and do and end up picking up a couple fish before weigh-in. So definitely top water is a big deal. The heat of the summer, it feels like those fish will get, shallower as the hotter it gets. If there's any vegetation, any lily pads or anything like that. But it seemed like, for whatever reason, it was almost like more of a moving bait up there to me, whether that be like a little ribbit style frog or a buzzbait or like a plopper or chopo, something that was kind of moving instead of just like a walking frog. Not that you can't catch them on a walking frog. It was just like more scattered stuff, and you just wind it around and get those bites. So,
yeah. Usually, if I get a little limit in a boat, I usually put something like that in my hand for the rest of the day, even if it's 4 hours and one bite. But
you can usually pick up. You might not get many bites, but you're going to get one that's a little bit better, or just one that they typically don't see. You throw it down docks and everything else, and those same fish that see those same lures over and over again, just throwing something. If there's any visibility, like decent water clarity at top water, around docks and stuff like that is good. Like even a spook or something around a dock.
Are you like a midday, hotter the better top water guy? Do you love? I mean, I've seen you do it, running shade and stuff. Like, it can be killer.
100%. And it's like, I learned that last year at Smith Lake. I was leading after day one, and then we had clouds and rain the next 3 days, and we hadn't had that all week, and it was 4th of July. Yeah, it was the beginning of July in Alabama, and I'm catching, basically roamers or wolfpack fish in inches of water, a foot or less, basically. And as soon as that sun went away, those fish, it ruined the whole thing. And it took me to that event to finally realize like they need that sun. Now that could be like a blueback herring lake type situation where like maybe more of a normal lake, the cloud cover, but everyone's like, oh man, it's cloudy, it's raining, top water. And I'm like almost the opposite. I want it to be, sunny. Like it still has to feel fishy, it can't be like post front and like it doesn't kick them in the head type of situation. But like just that sun, those fish are so much of sight feeders, and we see it with our forward now on how much they feed up when the sun's out and how much better they can see. And that sun goes away and it's like, oh shoot, they suck to the bottom. We thought they floated. No. So the same thing with the top water. It's almost like they see it better. They're getting up there shallower because they can hunt, and they'll just, it's a lot better. And it puts the shade lines and stuff, more predictable.
Yeah.
But they don't even have to be in the shade though. Like they could just be, going down the bank. So the hotter the better for sure.
Love it. Well, hey man, we'll let you get off here and go spend some time with little man, and just appreciate you coming on, dude. It's been awesome.
Appreciate you guys reaching out to me. I
enjoyed
it.
Well, I hope Bo didn't have to twist your arm.
Pardon me?
I said, I hope old Bo didn't twist your arm. He brought you up and said he'd be an awesome interview. And I said, well, let him know. We'd love to have you. So thanks for doing it.
I need to come. I'm probably going to come back home here soon. I might go over to Tappan maybe I haven't been there in years. So Salt Fork or something just for old time's sake. But
Salt Fork's fishing tough. Tappan's been decent, but
give me
I would definitely go to Tappan.
Where's the best place?
Probably Mosquito, man.
Mosquito, it's still good, but it's been tough this year too.
Really?
I'm going to Portage this weekend. We'll see how that goes.
There you go.
But
how much has Scopin ruled at Portage?
For me, I love it. Like,
but I mean, like the lake in general, like that is a Scopin lake. Like I often think back to that place, like just because I caught him on an A-rig there, and all,
You know what though? I don't think guys are doing it as much as you would think, because they're just all flipping docks and up shallow and fishing grass and stuff. But if you pull out off of that and you're fishing the grass edges and stuff like that, like it's incredible.
That's what I like. Those humps and stuff out there in the middle and the grass edges, and
there's
like stump rows and everything out there.
Yeah, I think in the early spring, before that grass really gets heavy, there's I don't want to say too much, but like I know for a fact that a rig and big glides, like guys will catch them out there scoping on that stuff for sure. You'll start seeing it there in like early March, just not far after ice out. It's no secret, man. But the only good thing about Ohio, if you're a tournament fisherman that hates scoping or frankly just sucks at it, kind of like I do, like a lot of these little flood control impoundments, these little bass are so structure oriented. Like you can, you can not be the best at it and still compete. And on the Ohio River and the rivers and all that. So.
That's something that I often, because I hadn't been home to do it, and like I haven't fished like really smaller lakes like that, so I wouldn't really know because we'll go to like say Grand Lake, for example. It's so full of trash fish, and it's so hard to do it. It's almost better just to turn the thing off, and you look at how Hamner won it. he wasn't even he was looking at the structure, letting the fish come off of it. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, that would be, because I just wondered how much, trash and stuff was in the.
Yeah, there's a lot of junks, the white bass, and I'm sure it's just I'd say in Ohio in general, the lake that's probably shown out and been exposed the most from live scope is Alum Creek. You've seen 20 plus pound bags of smallmouth are still getting caught, and it's the Ohio State kids, the younger dudes they've figured it out, and it's cool to watch them do it. I'm sure the locals up there are freaking not loving it, but they're showing what lives in there, man. It's a good lake.
Yeah,
it's healthy. Awesome. It's got grass right now. Like it's probably as good as it's ever been. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Hunter, like I said, we appreciate you coming on here and taking the time out of your day and just kind of sharing your story and some fishing wisdom with us. And good luck the rest of this season.
Thank you guys.
We're rooting for you, man.
You guys got my contact. If you ever need anything, just holler at me.
We're gonna holler at you when you get that blue trophy and tell you congrats, because it's gonna happen, man. You've been close a bunch, but
thank you. Well, hopefully sooner than later.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Cool. All right, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. Yep, we'll talk to you.
See ya.
You just did it.
I just did it. Okay.